Soft Fire series. This series has been all about leadership. And if you're making this live or you're watching the replay, my guess, and you can let me know in the comments if this is true, you've watched some or part of the Soft Fire series, or you saw this, you're like, yeah, I want to be in my glow up era. So either way, whichever one brings you here, I'm so excited for you to be here. Hello, Jinx. It is good to see you. I've got notes with me today because, honey, we've got a little bit to get through. And I want you to know at any time, especially if you're watching this live or in during the replay, because I do go back and answer people's comments. You can see in the past ones I do, and I will for this one too. Any questions that you have, anything that's coming up for you, I want to know about it in the comments. But I also didn't want to miss anything that I made notes that I want to get into this live. So we're going to be here as long as we're going to be here. I don't have any I've got to leave at a certain time. We're just going to be here as long as we're going to be here. Okay? Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. All right. So, I almost forgot. If you haven't grabbed the companion kit for this series called Lead Without Shrinking, seriously, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? Go grab it. It's going to be in the description. And after the live is over, I will put up a pinned comment and it will be in the pinned comments. But you need to grab it. It is really there to support you as you step into this leadership. I'm going a little off script, so know that I will be going off script. But off notes, off script, whatever. I've been having a lot of conversations over these last few weeks as the series has been dripping out. And a lot around what does it mean to lead? Is this only for entrepreneurs? But, or I sent it to my friend. Is it okay? My friend's not an entrepreneur. So I think they'll get it because there's some good stuff here. But yeah, they'll get it because this is just about, or I should say, this isn't only about becoming an entrepreneur. Hello, I'm a business coach. Yeah, I want to work with entrepreneurs. But it's also about just moving through and learning how to lead in your own life, right? That's what it's really about. Hello, Keelan. Hello, unknown boy. Nope, I'm not taking any more boarders. So you can't come live with me. But it's good to see you here. All right, so let's keep trucking through this. So any type of leadership, and I'm serious, it starts with learning how to lead yourself. Hey, Bonnie, good to see you. Oh, good Lord. So it starts with, like I said, a personal leadership. You have to be able to move through and lead yourself before you can start leading other people. And by other people, I am talking about family, friends, and then you move out to a greater community or even nationally. These are all the ways that you move through leadership. So this series was really built for you learning how to lead yourself and then taking that experience, taking those building blocks and pushing out to lead outside of yourself. Like I said, family, friends, greater community. Yes, of course. It is always nice to be recognized, isn't it, Bonnie? Yeah, I love when I go on a live and I comment and someone recognizes me too. I love it. But again, that's part of leading. Is recognizing others, recognizing what they can do, what they're contributing. It's not all about just the leader, right? Initially, yeah, it's about you. It's about you and your boundaries and what you need to fill yourself up with. But it's up to you to then turn around and recognize others and their contributions. Whether, like I said, it's in your circle of family and friends or out in your greater community. All right, so with all of that said, let's talk about the series. So if you had a chance to watch the Soft Fire series, I want to know what touched you the most. Was there something that was said in one of the videos? Was there something that you started doing? Like, what behavior has changed as a result of watching the series? I would love to know about that. You know, I had a discussion, and I know there's a delay. So as you're typing stuff in, there's a delay, and I want to be able to read what people say. But I had a discussion with someone who had watched the series. They reached out to me, and let's see. Oh, no. This one was a comment that I'm thinking of. It was a discussion. It was a comment. And I want to say it was on one of the last videos, but I can't remember which one. And they said, oh, like they finally got what has been holding them back from really stepping forward. And it was that identity mismatch, right? It was an identity mismatch. Hello, Rambo. And that identity mismatch is who you think you are versus who you're being called to be, right? So when I want to take that next leap, when I want to, you know, go to the next level, jump timelines, however you want to look at it, I'm not going to sustain that vibrational energy until I believe I'm the person who can do that, right? If I don't believe I'm the person who can have this home or this car or this significant other or whatever it is, right? Material, relationship, concept, money, whatever it is, I don't believe I'm the person who can have that. Guess what? I'm going to fall back to who I actually believe I am, right? So you have to have that belief change. You have to hold that new identity and make it yours, right? And I think I talked in depth in that video about vibrating to that new identity. So you can hold that new level, that new point of wealth or experience or whatever it is. All right, Jinx said, I finally took my next step on getting my book going. Woo! I'm so excited. I'm excited that you finally took steps to get your book going. Bonnie, let me know when you say, what does that mean? You're going to have to give me, because we're in a delay, so you're going to have to give me a little bit more context because I talked about a few things. So I'm glad you finally took the next steps on getting your book going. I would love to know what had you think, yeah, I'm ready to take those next steps to getting my book going. And what does the next steps look like if you care to share that? I would love to know more on that. Yeah, okay. So the other thing I want to say, I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit of my personal experience. Sometimes when I'm shooting these videos, I say things come out of my mouth because sometimes I'm literally just channeling as we're shooting the video. And again, I go off script. I go off my notes because I started channeling and things pop out of my mouth that I didn't realize were going to come out. Right? And I've had that experience several times through moving through and creating this series. And I've, during this, I've learned a lot more about leadership, and I'm going back because a lot of times things pop out of my mouth, and until I'm in editing, right, or I'm watching it again, I don't even hear it. So I've gone back to rewatch the videos, and I will be going back to watch them again because there's several that really, when you think about basically, like, I know there's a video about you're not confused, you're just in between. That in-betweeny space really speaks to me because I've been there so many times and I forget what to do, or I get so frustrated when I'm in that moment of the in-between. I will do anything to bust out of that, forgetting that so much happens when you're in that liminal space, that in-between space where you're not quite who you were and you're not quite who you're becoming. There's a lot of gold in there. And so for me, I know that's one of the videos I made. I'm going to be going back over and over again to listen to, because I just have this compulsion to constantly be moving forward. I think that's a little bit of programming that comes in from, I don't know, living in a capitalist society, that you always have to be productive. You always have to be moving. And trying to remember that rest, that relaxation, that pondering, it can be a radical act. And honestly, it is just as productive as being, quote unquote, physically productive in ways that people can see. So that's one of the things that really hit me as I was going through. And then, let's see, I want to make sure to, for people who are watching this video, they're watching the replay. And I guess for you guys right now who are watching live, I have a couple of questions that I think would be helpful if you're going to take a moment to journal. Okay, so one of those questions is, who am I becoming right now? Because that's really a big thing. It's like, who are you becoming? Next one is, what do I now know about myself that I didn't know at the start? Right, sometimes we forget to reflect back on where we were, so we can really appreciate the journey that we're on. Right? Because we're always growing and expanding in different ways. And sometimes we just don't reflect back on how far we've already come. Or sometimes even when we're on a journey, we don't realize that even though we've come across whatever this is before, maybe you think, oh no, I'm back in the same sorry spot that I was 3 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was. Yes and no. If you really reflect back, you've learned a lot in that intervening time. So even though it seems like the same situation, you're coming at it as an entirely different person. So that's really important to know. And then the last question on this part is, where am I still hesitating to lead? Right, where am I still hesitating to lead? All right, so Jinx says, I started working on an amateur version. Okay, an amateur version of the audiobook of my story to start advertising it. Ooh, I love that. I love that ingenuity. Just to start doing the thing, especially as a form of advertising. I don't know if I've talked about it in a recent video, but that is a lot like the concept of open loops. Creating open loops in people's minds is really good because they desperately want to close them. This is how TV shows get us, right? Or movies that it's going to be a series of movies, right? Where they leave at the end this huge open loop that you want to close. You want to know what happens next. That's how TV shows keep us coming back week after week after week. Back when they used to be shot only weekly. I guess they still are, instead of being dumped all at once. But that's how they keep you coming back. Open loops. So I think that's a great idea for advertising, Jinx. Hello, Rich from London. Good to see you here. All right, so I'm going to keep on going here. Like I said, if you have any questions about the series, go ahead and you can drop them into the chat. I'm happy to answer them. But one of the things this is about your glow up era, right? So part of it is, yes, going through the series, the leadership series, right? This whole soft fire series, going through it, learning all the things that you need to learn so that you can be in your glow up era, right? And keeping the energetics of that glow up era. I talked a lot about energetics in the video previous to this one. I guess that was episode 5. I had to think about it there for a minute. I really talked about maintaining the energetics of your up level. But I do want to talk about really staying grounded in all of this. I mean, it's nice. It's Taurus season. It's nice to talk about being grounded. Taurus is, you know, earth energy, very, very grounding. And not only, it's not just about doing grounding meditations, though, hey, I'm happy to introduce you to some grounding meditations. It is about really, like I said, reflecting back to what you've done, taking a step back and looking at what you're doing. Sometimes it's good to be in the moment. And in fact, I really say more time than not, we need to spend in the moment. That's how we're really going to stick in our glow up, right? By really living in the moment, not necessarily living in the past, not worrying intensely about the future, but really being present right now. That's what's really going to help us stay grounded, stay present, and make the moves that are going to help us going forward into the future. It's about putting in those rituals, those systems and supports that we need in place. So if one of the things that's going to help you mesh with that becoming, right, to mesh and hold on to this vibration of your glow up, is every morning getting up and journaling or walking or sitting with a glass of tea outside, whatever it is, right? Establish that morning ritual that keeps you in the same vibrational energy of your becoming or who you have become. Establish an evening ritual that does the same thing. Establish those many moments during the day that allow you to be that person. Because it only takes 90 seconds at a time to establish a link to whatever that energetic is. So whenever you feel like, ooh, something doesn't feel right here, I don't feel like I'm in that vibration that I want to be in. 90 seconds, really holding on to that vibration you want to be in, establishes that linkage back. You get to turn around anything you want to turn around, moment by moment. You know, sometimes people say, I have to wait to the beginning of the month. Hello, it's May 1st. At least it is right now for me as I'm filming. It's May 1st. It's the beginning of the month. If this is what you need to make your change, do that to make your change. Some people wait till the beginning of the year, the beginning of a quarter, whatever. The point is, a Monday or Sunday, doesn't matter. Every single moment, you get to make a decision to make a change and hold on to that change. And when you wake up and things just go sideways, sometimes I wake up and it's because I get a phone call, hey, you were supposed to be doing this. And I'm not even awake yet. And now all of a sudden it feels like my whole day's thrown off. I always have a moment during that day. I have those 90 seconds where I can take a breath, where I can lock into that energetic of who I want to be, who I'm becoming, or who I am, depending on where you feel like you are on that spectrum, and hold it so that I don't have problems during the rest of the day. My beginning of the day might have turned into like a dumpster fire. Doesn't mean my entire day or week or month or whatever has to be a dumpster fire. That was my old life, where it was always a dumpster fire. Anything happened, it could throw me into a loop for months, if not years. There's things that threw me in for a decade. But I didn't realize that I was the key to making that stop. That it's me and my vibration and my focus and my perception and projection loop that can turn that whole ding thing around. That is how you maintain and expand your glow up era. Is that you take ownership of your energy. You take ownership of your actions. You can also opt not to. Probably won't maintain in your glow up era though. So I encourage you to keep a hold of your energy. All right. Now, I said at the beginning of this, hey, this isn't just for entrepreneurs, even though I am a business coach and I work with women entrepreneurs. This isn't just for entrepreneurs to really jump into leadership. It's for all of us, because traditionally as women or majority minority peoples, we kind of defer to others because we were taught to defer to others. And I'm not just talking about people of different skin colors or anything like that. I'm also talking about, depending on your socioeconomic group, you were taught to defer, right? And what we're doing is we're not allowing automatic deference, right? Because we are now leaders, all right? We are now leaders. So we are going to lead and keep moving forward. And I want to tell you that, again, that goes for you with personal leadership. I talk a lot about personal sovereignty. If you want to talk to me more about personal sovereignty, please go ahead and reach out. I think in the description, pin comments, etc. There's going to be a link where we can just chit chat one-on-one for a little bit. That's the Cosmic Consultation. And I talk a lot about personal sovereignty, and I'm happy to share some information about that with you because that's super important, especially now. But that leadership, which is part of personal sovereignty, right? Leading and going out in the front also means that you're leading your friends, your family, your community. You might be leading a whole new movement or a whole new thought, right? A whole new way of being. And I'm so excited to have worked with so many women who have been leading in spaces and disrupting those spaces, really. You know, I have a client right now who's leading in the space of traditional, well, I'm going to mess it up. I want to say Chinese medicine, but it's acupuncture. But taking, because she says, I'm going to mess it up, so I'm not going to get all that messed up for her. But she's taking that information that goes with acupuncture and bringing it into business spaces as to how systems like a business system, a company, a corporation, etc., can use those principles. And I'm just like, dang, it's not even something I would have even thought of before. But it's also something that's a yearning in those spaces that are almost devoid of life. How do we connect those back to natural rhythms, right? And that's why I'm so excited about what she's doing. It's a new idea. It's a new concept. It in itself, again, is disruptive. Another client that's doing disruptive things is out in the space of raising money, right? She wrote a book on raising capital on your own terms. She was instrumental on crowdfunding when it wasn't, when it wasn't legal. She helped make it legal, helped write the legislation for crowdfunding. And I'm not just talking like Indiegogo and GoFundMe and those kinds of things, but what's called regulated crowdfunding. So everyday people could support companies or ideas that could then turn to companies or whatever. And it's like, before that, it was just left to people who had a lot of money if they wanted to support an idea or not, right? But now we can determine what we want to do under regulated crowdfunding, which I think is amazing. And without her pushing that forward, we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have that option. So to me, it's like how incredible it is to work with these women on things that they're doing. I'm working with women who are coming up with new methods, modalities of healing. And that's incredible to me. To just watch someone get this download and package it in such a way so that they can then help others. If those are some of the things that you're up to or that are kind of noodling around the back of your head, you're like, yeah, I'm ready to bring forth something amazing. I'm ready to put my own spin on something that's already out there, but I know what I want to bring to it is going to be disruptive. I would like to work with you, right? That is about leadership. So I would like to work with you to help you through that, to help you bring it out there to more people, to help you with the systems that can make it to where you get to focus on your genius and not on the things that are the undergirding of running a business, right? And I do that with Divine Systems AI. Please let me know if you want to know more about it, because it can help you by giving you the foundations that large companies have under them for a fraction of the price. And I do mean fraction because I want all this out there, so I run good deals on my software so that you can get out there with it. So you can go and make the change that you want to make in the world and have the support to do so. All right. So if if anything I've talked about has fired you up, has made you want to go forward, thank you so much. Please let me know in the comments below. Even though I say don't look for validation, I like me some validation. So if anything in the series, in this live stream, has made you say, yes, I'm ready to take steps forward. Yes, this really sparked something in me. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. I would love to read it. Others would like to know that too, because it makes them less afraid of speaking out and moving forward and really bringing what they have into the world. You know, one of the things, and I'm looking out, I'm so fortunate that I can look out and see beautiful flowers out in front of me and watch butterflies flitting around and different kinds of birds. I'm still looking for the hummingbirds to come back, because I have this wild-ish flower garden in front of me. I don't know, I guess it's called a pollinator garden. And sometimes, and it's just reminding me that different things we do are different ways of leading. So sometimes, and I want to bring this home for you guys, sometimes leading is sharing a flower. Sometimes it's planting a flower. Sometimes it is sharing food that you grew in your own garden. Sometimes a disruptive thing you're doing is growing food in your own garden. There's all sorts of ways that we learn from each other, because trust me, I would tell you that I can't grow anything. Like, this pollinator garden was here when I moved in. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't be here. But recently, because of this pollinator garden, I decided to try to keep a plant alive. It's over there, and it's still alive. And it's growing, which shocks me that I've actually had a plant grow. Right? But I also started doing what? I started watching videos about growing things. I started getting educated. And so if it wasn't for those creators willing to come out and share their knowledge, share what they know, how they know to grow things in different environments, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be in my head right now thinking, I bet I could grow some kitchen herbs. I bet I could grow an apothecary garden. Maybe I can plant some of my own food. I wouldn't have the courage to even think, to even hope about those things, had it not been for someone else having the courage to put the information out there. If it had not been for someone else to have the courage to lead, and in many cases look like me and be in my area, so I know that it actually could be done, right? So as my child often says, I don't want to be the change I wish to see. I'm going to encourage you to be the change you wish to see, to go out there and lead boldly, loudly, and often. I want to thank you again so much for spending this time with me on the live. If you have anything else, any other questions, please throw them in the comments right now so I can see them. And if you want to just say hi, please say hi. I would love it. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. No, I don't think I have. So yeah, I do want to take this time to make sure if there's any other Q&A, I want to make sure that I'm answering your questions. If I don't see any questions, I'm just going to recap to say, watch the entire series if you haven't done so. Comment anywhere along in the series. I will get back to you in the comments. I always do. I always comment back. If you have a question, I'm always happy to answer questions. I'm actually planning on shooting some shorts based on some questions that I've had. Not that I didn't answer that person's question, but to make sure that other people, because I think they're important questions. Also, let me say this, that if you have like overarching questions about the series, this is the best place to drop them, will be in this video. I can answer them here. And again, if you need to talk to me and you're like, Africa, I just want to have a chat with you, book a cosmic consultation. Link's going to be in the description and in the pinned comment when I bother put up the pinned comment. If you you're like, I want to talk to you, my soul feels a little bit off. I feel a little bit off. I have this vision. I'm trying to pull it all together. Book a Soulful Reset. That's where I do some really deep work with you. If you know you're ready to get started on your business, check out Divine Systems AI. All right. I have said all the pitchy things I'm going to say, other than if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so, because I'm going to be running yet another series. It's going to be two kind of back-to-back series about money. So the reason I have it kind of two back-to-back series about money will make more sense when they come out. But one is thinking about reclaiming your birthright around money, and one is more about creating your personal economy. So those two series are coming up. I'm very excited. That's going to take us over the next few months to get those out. But again, all the feedback matters. Your feedback matters, and your questions definitely matter. So make sure questions, comments, always put them in. I love you so much. Peace, joy, love to you. Have a wonderful day, because you're amazing.